What's up? What's up, y'all?
What's up with it? What's up with it? We in
Ben-
there. What's that?
Benji, you weren't dancing today. What's going on, my guy? Like you didn't feel the
Uh,
groove? Like,
I, I, I
what's going
mean,
on?
I was trying to go live, from the IG, and then so you know what I'm saying. I didn't get my little two-step in, but I got my wine in my hand, so I'm
I,
feeling kind of normal.
oh, normal. Okay, I don't know what normal looks like in Benji's world, but we'll allow it today. We'll
We'll allow
allow it
it today.
today.
We'll
Yeah,
allow it.
yeah, yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Facts, facts, facts. All right, y'all. Y'all, welcome to another episode of the Fiyah Session. It's episode 153. We calling this one the Love Exchange. The Love
Yeah.
Exchange. And y'all see, we got two amazing people on the
Yeah.
screen with us today.
Yeah.
We had to bring in some special guests, some heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they know what they're talking about.
Right.
So we have no doubt in our minds that they're gonna give you some great information and some great clips to take with you today. Because you know what, this topic is taking over social media. It's taking over the world.
Yeah.
Um, the
Yeah.
love
Folks got
exchange.
folks got to talk about this every
Hey,
day, all day.
hey, I call it the love exchange because y'all know the stock market, right? Things go up and down, but it's a bunch of transactions going on. And that's what love has turned into today. A bunch
Yeah.
of transactions. What happened
Transaction.
to the love? What happened to the love?
Is
But
that
before
is
we
that is that even real anymore? Is that
I don't know.
It's
That's a
fun.
good question.
Yeah.
That's a
It,
good question.
yeah. She said it is for us. So, whenever y'all want us to jump in, let us know.
Oh
you can
yeah,
jump
yeah.
in when you want
Well,
freely?
love has become so transactional that we're posting receipts and making memes out of it, and it almost is popular to make fun of you not having love rather than us celebrating love. Even Tank, who makes love music and all kind of other music, said he said what people are really afraid of is our love. That is our greatest superpower.
I agree.
And things have shifted, and the capitalistic mindset has taken over people that they need transactions in order to feel love. And
That is
so
a
that's
fact.
where we at. But my wife got a whole bunch of good stuff to say. I'm just
Yeah,
alley.
I was just gonna add that also. I think from a lot of I'm a social worker, with a
Okay.
career in social work, and I think it also has become transactional because of people being groomed to survive in this world.
Mhm.
And unfortunately for him, I was groomed in a different way.
Okay.
But but I
Praise
can
God.
see,
What threw up his prayer hands?
yeah, and then people bring a lot of their brokenness into the relationship, and so I
Right.
think that there are a lot of other factors to contribute outside of financial transactions or sexual transactions. There's so much more to add in what we have discovered in our love and why it has been so healing. But yeah, I did not know about a lot of this stuff because I grew up in a very different way. But I will remember the first time I heard it because it shocked me so deeply. I was in my master's program at this time. I was living in Houston,
Mhm.
and I was working a full-time job and a part-time job at Papado's in the Papado concept
Oh,
store.
shout out Papa Do's down there.
Yeah, it taught me a
Down there in
lot
Texas.
about
Yeah.
how to cook. And Texas is where it's at. I used to live in Texas for about 5 years, but um, I remember a waitress like telling me what she was going to do with this dude and how he was going to pay her rent and do some other things. And I remember being clutching my pearls and being like, they pay rent? Like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening? Because I had been, nose deep in my education, working a full time, part time, that by the time I looked up and to see like what other women are doing, I was just like, okay. So from that's when I was like, oh, okay, so but you work at Papado full time as a waitress, like no shade, but what are you bringing to the it's just there's so many layers to it,
Right.
but That's all I'll say for right now. I guess we could keep on. But for me, because I was in my own lane, working on me, doing my own thing, it wasn't a what do you bring to the table, is how are you gonna make me grow? I can pay my own bills, I can do all these things on my own, whether you're here or not, but like, how are you gonna pour into me? How am I gonna be led by you as a man of God? How are you gonna heal my childhood wounds with me? Help me uncover the greater parts of myself. So I think it also has to do with a person's emotional intelligence and their psychological fortitude. And again, if they had walked themselves through their process and healing, and what did that look like? Are they? It's not brunches, and it's not, it's years of therapy.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot to that, and we definitely have discussions about this all the time, because I'm 34 years old, and my millennial counterpart, like my women, are not. I'm not in the same category as a lot of them. And, yeah, I have one friend who's now divorced, and another, like, we're seeing I've watched and seen things happen too. So
that's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a challenge, because watching other people's relationships will certainly make you appreciate what you have. Because I can promise you, everybody don't move the same in relationship. And when you see a good solid one, trust me, it is something to hold on to and to check out for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get deeper into the subject, we have to check on our people. Yeah, we got to check on our people, because we do that at the beginning of the show. So we had Trish Michelle pop in. Welcome to the show, Trish Michelle.
What's up, you guys? Hello.
So we want to check on our guests first. So how are you all doing today, mentally, emotionally, physically? You feeling good? You okay? Your week started good?
For me, I mean, you guys already know I got a lot going on with my mom and family. So my whole everything is, I'm all over the place right now, mentally overwhelmed. But God willing, I'll push you through every day. Yes. So I'm here and taking it one day at a time. So I'm good.
It's all right. Glad to have you. Glad to have you, forehead. Hopefully we can make you laugh. So a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But glad to have you as always. She know I got to mess with her. She know it. That's
not mess. It's okay.
She know what's up.
It's okay. When I come in hot. So
I know. That's what I'm waiting for. You ain't threw it out there yet. So you know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for it.
You better consider yourself spared. Thank God.
Lord. Here we go. I'm a big boy. I can handle it.
All right. The Hamptons. Talk to us. Tell us how you all are feeling today, mentally, physically, emotionally. Y'all good?
Yeah, extremely good day, and hopefully get to share some news a little later. We want to make sure things are sealed before we make any announcements, but a really great day to jump off spring. Super, super blessed and full of gratitude all of the time. No worries.
Is a baby on the way? Is a baby?
No, baby. No. Everybody thinks people, like that's the most asked question from us. Like,
do I look pregnant?
I'm like, if we do, we eating. Like, that's all.
Yeah.
Natural,
right?
Spiritual baby.
Yeah. I'm not offended. I don't really care, but it's like, am I putting off the vibe? Am I saying
that's everyone's favorite thing to assume. That's all. So don't worry.
Oh yeah. I
the first thing they jump to. They're pregnant.
And they could be like, see, I knew it.
Like, okay.
Right. It set you up. I'm good. It's a great day. It's the first day of spring. It's the real new year. She happened to make some bomb black eyed peas and a turkey leg, and it was busted, and homemade cornbread. So today is a very good day just off that alone. Okay, that's the kind of life I have. So, okay, now you know why I married her. Okay.
Listen, on this show we have what is called lift your hands moments, because there's just some things you go do. Because listen, you said corn, yes sir. You said cornbread and black eyed peas, yes sir. Yes sir.
Yeah. Stuck to my. I said you put a lot of love in this. It's making me full real fast. I know when it's love in it. It's just like, oh, that was nothing. That was an effortless meal.
Oh,
okay. All right. Well, that's why when women don't put in that much effort, transactions don't happen. because of things like that. That effort causes transactions and transformation. So we'll get back into that.
But anyway. You got the transaction. See, you got the deposit. See, I like that. I like that.
See, it's a reciprocity exchange, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I dig it.
Okay. All right. Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people. How you feeling today, my brother?
I'm feeling good, man. Nothing to complain about. There is things to complain about, but I don't give it no space. I just take it on the chin.
You couldn't find clothes in your size?
I mean, listen, man.
The
shirt was too small. Hey, all I say is I won my lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I like that check. I like that check. And I ain't done yet. That's all I will say. But other than that, man, everything is Gucci. It's funny because I've been waiting on this particular moment that's coming up next week for quite a while, and I'll be back ministering in the pulpit again. So it's so we're back in our space, and so I'm appreciative for that. But to get back to that space, trust me, it's been nothing but a challenge. So,
wow, congratulations! Right. And so that means that you're gonna go buy some more size small suits, right? Because you gotta
the baby section.
No, we've already created the leisure line suits for me to preach in. Just FYI, not the jumpsuits, which we have with the name on it. I've already created my leisure line.
You got a 5-piece breakaway suit in toddler size, 2T?
Toddlers, see, now that's the Patricia I know.
You didn't hear Rose. She said, do you have the Jermaine Dupri suits? Is that
with the socks?
I mean, listen, it was called Boss Baby, just so you understand. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
You got the capri shorts, huh?
Hey, listen, I'll rock it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I talked to Jermaine Dupri's interview. He's like, "What y'all expect me to come out in the ball cap?" And what she's like, "No, I came out in
you and Jermaine Dupri about
the same height.
I believe I'm a little taller. I just want to believe.
Belief and actuality are two different things.
I mean, that is very true. But you know what?
All right, let me.
I'm glad you're back to normal. I'm glad you're back to normal.
Right.
If I am feeling it, you know what I'm saying, I worry. But you back to normal. I like
it. Yeah, for the people who are new to the show, welcome. Y'all know Trisha and Benji go back and forth. Benji is regular height though, y'all. We just give him a hard time. You know, he average height by 5'8" on a good day.
Man, so try to give me all my inches. I'm fine.
Is it 4'11"? He's legally.
He said 5'9", so we're gonna let him claim that. We're gonna let him claim. That's with shoes on, y'all. 5'9" with shoes on.
I'm 5'10" with the J's on.
That's the special ones he got from the podiatrist.
He keep going up. See, he keep going up. he keep going up. I'm just like, okay. Well,
hey,
y'all have seen us in pictures together. Y'all have seen us in pictures together. So y'all see the difference, the height difference. Right. But that's been my guy since we were the same height.
Yeah, that's why the camera. Okay. Look at the camera angle. It goes from down up to make him look taller. Everything is.
Yeah, right.
All right, y'all. All right. Let's get back on track, y'all. We got to check on our people to start the show. Y'all know how we do. Right. We got to start it off with some good energy. Make sure everybody's good and ready, set, go for the conversation. But today we got a kind of serious topic because it's becoming a phenomenon and it's becoming a way of life. And for us who have kids, I'm kind of afraid for my kids. Because I'm like, this is the environment they got to grow up in, and we got to help them navigate something that we don't know an awful lot about. Because we didn't grow up like this. We didn't grow up seeing these type of examples set before us that, you know, have everything that you do for somebody, you know, it's going to be a transaction. It's going to cost you something, right? So that's where this topic comes from. The transactional relationships is it's going to cost you something.
And it's taking over.
Nobody's doing anything because they love you anymore. It's I love you, but I'm
But
doing this because when you do this, I'm gonna do this and vice versa. And most people ain't even doing that. They doing it simply because they trying to see what they can get out of the situation.
facts.
Right. I was just gonna say it's not love, that's manipulation. That's
Mm-hmm.
you're creating your tools to manipulate in order to have weight or leverage against the other person.
Yeah.
And those
I
are
agree.
traits of a person with narcissistic personality disorder.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're dating. People are dating narcissists to a degree, right?
Well,
Have
and
they accepted it?
I don't want to throw around the term so loosely, but we all have narcissistic traits or characteristics because we are naturally human, and the whole survival of the fittest is a real thing.
Right.
That's innate in us. But having said that, if you are a person who has not like healed your childhood trauma, if you've ever experienced people, just whatever, you'll learn this is what I have to do to survive. These are the things I have to do. And nobody ever tells you along the way that that's like superficial or that is inhumane to treat people in a transactional way. If you don't have anybody to tell you that, then you're going to go about life thinking that that is how you are supposed to live.
Right.
So,
Now,
and again,
Warren,
it's only as deep or shallow. And I also was going to say that this is an American phenomenon.
right.
This is not a global phenomenon. And so if you choose to raise your family in this society, you are up against a lot of different things, including the impact of capitalism and colonialism and all of these other things that impact our education and our school districts. And so it's just like this vicious cycle. But again, this is an American phenomenon because of a lot of different reasons. But the main thing I believe is because we are conditioned to believe like these are the things that you look for in a man. And it's always like this way instead of this way. What can you do for me versus what can I do for you?
Right.
Yeah.
Warren, I want to ask you something. How does Roisha change that mindset for you? Enough for you to say, "Hey, I want to marry this woman." What clicked in how she did it that made you say, "You know what? I want to marry this woman." What was that distinct thing that was there?
That's a great question. It was just the way she served and loved and sacrificed consistently, continually. And I was just like, I had to ask her because when I got divorced, I was like, yo, I was so scared to go into the dating pool because I was like, first of all, no offense, ladies, but I was like, I want to jump in the pool and go swimming first because I want to see who you really are, to see if any hair pops up out the water, lashes, makeup. I want to see Jesus wash all your sins away on your face in the dating pool. I literally want to jump in the pool in the dating pool. I'm a scientist like that. Because it was just, and God saw fit that I didn't have to do that, and I was on a dating show. That's a whole other long story. But when I met her, it was really her service. And I honestly thought when I first met her, just the way she carries herself, I thought she was older than what she was. And she was so mature and had her own house, had her own car, had her own job, had her own hair, had her own teeth, had her own lashes, had her own booty, had her own breasts, had her own.
What? Hold on. She had her own buns.
She had everything real. That was it, Benji. She was real. She was a real woman. And I was like, wow, God, you are so good to give me this. Because here's the thing, the reason why we have that transactional mindset is because who we are listening to, who we are watching, who is feeding us, who is the materialism of the hip hop culture. When she was raised she's Afro-Indigenous, and I didn't say my name, Warren Hampton, that's my name. But she's Afro-Indigenous, and so there was a different cultural upbringing and a village concept and a selflessness that I only really saw in like church mothers and my mom. Right. And so when I saw the best qualities of my mom and my other Native mom, who's dear to my heart, she was the only one that reflected that back consistently and just year after year, day after day. And I didn't even know how to accept it because I didn't have that in my transactional marriage. Right. So, you know, that and we don't talk about that. Even Jasmine Sullivan put that in her album that, you know, some women get married for transactions. White women did it. And here's the thing, the mindset is really a colonizer mindset, because if you think you can use your body to get a transaction, to get somebody, to trap somebody in order for you to get paid, that is slavery. And you are putting your body on the block in order to put somebody else in bondage. And the only mindset like that is a colonizer mindset that makes transactions with people and want to possess people. And if you do this, I do that. God doesn't do that. He gave his whole life to us for free. He paid it all. That's what the Bible says, and all to him we owe. We don't have to pay Jesus anything to be saved. And somehow we don't listen to J. Cole and don't save them. Like, we just want to think we can pay and lose money and continue to do this process. For men, continue to not look for the inside, the quality on the heart, the intentions of the heart. You were going to say something, babe.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. You good.
You were talking about the colonizer and capitalistic mindset. It's so true because, of course, as we know, with the transatlantic slave trade. Yeah. But what some people don't know, and I'm so thankful for Killers of the Flower Moon, but when white people and when Native people and Black people started to be able to do something in Oklahoma, like the Osage Nation had been given this, land that was full of oil essentially, and white people caught wind of it, and they were not able to acquire land in the areas because they couldn't afford it. So poor white people, as a way to come up the social ladder, started trying to swindle Native women into marriage because of a colonial mindset that when she has land, it's inherited to the male, right? And so then they start, ending up dead, and then they inherit all their land and all of their oil. And a lot of people in Oklahoma have built their wealth off of the backs of not only Tulsa in the race massacre, the people who they stole from there, but also indigenous people. Yep. So it is a colonizer mindset to play a capitalistic game of what can I obtain from you to climb this social hierarchy ladder in order to be competitive and keep up with the Joneses and whatever that looks like. But not willing to work for it. Like, that's the key part. Like, you just want to.
I don't even want to work for it. We'll want to get over.
Well, you want to do sex work.
They want different work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Warren says, a little bit of slavery, a little bit of whorery. So, but the crazy thing about it is these people nowadays, they like it. They like whorery. They like slavery. They like that mindset. They like those type of actions. It's glorified. So what you have too is a phenomenon where instead of people looking for love, they're looking for help. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to be aware that it's a lot of people out there that are disguising love for help. They want you to help them attain things. They want you to help them grow. They want you to help them do all this stuff, but they don't want to pour into you at all. They don't want to help you at all. They don't want anything for you at all.
No,
they want you to do it.
It's what they call them, hobosexuals. And some people got. I posted this the other day. You got healing and hoeing mixed up. Like, brunching is open the Bible and get a book about boundaries, and self-love. The greatest transaction. And here's the thing. Like, when I met Rose, I was making the most money I've ever made. She wasn't making nearly as much as she was worth. And I was just being consistent with her, so I would make up the difference when I could. And then
hold on,
I didn't have.
Hold on, Warren.
Yeah.
I like how you. I hate to
I
stop
love
you,
how
but
you said
I
that.
like how you said that though. I like how you said that.
I love how you said
She
that.
wasn't making what she's worth.
Yeah.
You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
I just had to recognize
Okay.
that. I like that. I
No.
like that.
I mean, and truth be told, she's still not. As educated as she is, as smart as
Right.
she is, as many solutions as she is. I mean, she's so smart. Uh, she should be the first woman president. And I would be okay with being the first gentleman. Do not play. Y'all can come to the Black House. Okay.
Hey man, promote your lady. Push your
Hey,
lady forward.
I
Hold her
listen. I
down
wouldn't
does not benefit you anything.
exactly.
Right.
I would not. I would not want any other woman besides me because of the caliber of the man that I am. I know I settled for a just, I ain't even gonna get into that. Watch the podcast. But I know meeting her, there was a different level of a woman, of a caliber of virtuosity, of virtue that made me not want to impress her with money. I wanted to impress her with not impress her. I wanted to impress upon her my leadership that she wanted in a man.
Right.
And so what did that caused me to want to heal more, that caused me to go deeper into therapy.
Right.
It caused me to change my tone. It caused me to really grow up as a man so that my value without money grew. That's the way of the superior man, is
Right.
that I am more valuable than any monopoly money that this government can print and has no gold to back it up. So if I think that money, if I'm in a relationship for transactions when I don't have it, and she still loves me and still consistent and doesn't emasculate me and protects me and covers me and makes the difference when I'm not paid what I'm worth, that's a divine counterpart. And money can never secure that type of relationship. Only a supernatural love from God can keep a relationship like that intact, because money is fickle and it will come and go.
It'll
And
come and go,
house,
right.
it's material. We're not supposed to hold on to these things. We're supposed to hold on to the eternal, the spiritual, the natural, the divine. And as a Black woman, like, we have to honor them, the ones that are healthy. And we had this, one of her mentors, and we look up to them. They're Black millionaires.
Right.
And he said,
At our wedding,
Black women can heal us if we allow them to.
I agree.
And so we have a lot of unhealed women trying to be the loudest in the narrative of transactional relationships when they grew up on government cheese and don't want Cheesecake Factory. That's a problem.
Listen, hold on. Cheesecake Factory got some good cheesecake. That's all I'm gonna say.
the mango one is the best. Like, that's the only one I like.
She loves Cheesecake Factory. Not like that, but we don't do
cheesecake is
like that. But she wouldn't have a problem if I say, "Hey, baby, you want to go eat cheesecake?" We've eaten all over the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We don't even eat yogurt in America because we've eaten it in Greece and we know how it's supposed to taste. Like, those are the type of experience we need to be looking for, but someone has to lead it and be the example and show that sometimes she's going to lead financially. Sometimes I'm going to lead spiritually and financially, and she's going to lead emotionally or whatever. And there has to be a constant love exchange, not for transactions, but for transformation.
And I agree with that, because in a lot of aspects, people are counting what they're doing and they forget, like, I need to deposit some love into you, especially if we're considering marriage and we're partners. Like sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes I need you to speak life into me, and sometimes you just have to understand that space. But a lot of us haven't been afforded that opportunity to kind of embrace that space. We always think we gotta be doing something, so it can be tough at times.
That's good.
Yeah.
I wanted to add as well with the I believe the root issue of this problem is, of course, what has happened to us throughout slavery, but the removal of culture was so important to colonialism for several key factors, was why we're here today. But for one, the reason that made me a little bit different from the person that he may have experienced before is I was grown up in community. I was grown up with the sense of community over individuality. It's we over me, you know, and that played out in my every single day life. From morning to night, we're checking on our elders, making sure that, you know, they have what they need for the winter, or we're eating dinner and we know so-and-so is home by themselves. Like, we'll fix them a plate and go drop it off. And this concept of community has really escaped our culture. You know, you're not allowed to talk to my kid no type of way. You're not allowed to say nothing. You're not allowed to insert. We really do not have a community mindset in a way that we think that we do. So for me, that servitude is something that you can go to my reservation on any given day, and it's going to be consistent. You will walk into a house, they will greet you. Do you need anything? Sit down and eat. How can I serve you? How can I meet your needs? Because that's what a village does, you know. And because I had that, it's easy for me to get into spaces and I see somebody, you know, can I help you? Can I help? And I think that if you don't have that spirit in you already, male or female, it's hard to cultivate in a grown person. You cannot change a grown person's foundation. And if you are a lazy person to sit on the couch and just you do it, you figure it out, you eat, you make yourself food, you do that, like, that's individualistic. You're not serving from a place of a communal mindset that's for the greater good, you know. So that's unfortunate in our history that we have to get the backlash of that. But it's conversations like this that obviously give us hope. But I'm like, man, we are getting too far away, and it's sad that, you know, I had to watch even my little cousin, who I love dearly, be in a 10-year relationship with a person that I knew from like year 2 was not going to be that, and has never proven, and drug her through career changes and life change, like so many things, just, and all she wanted to be was a wife, and he don't want that, you know. And I'm like, see, it's not just the women either, but in that, you know, there were things that she, you know, compromised on in areas where I know she would never do that. So the other piece of that is knowing what you're worth, knowing what you're allowing in your life and what you're not going to allow, and what those boundaries look like, and really self-love dealing with all of your stuff. If you don't deal with all your stuff, you'll accept anything for what it is and think that that is what you deserve. So that's another thing. People coming in at low bars and meeting other people at low bars and asking each other what you can do. And we're all low vibes together, you know, like both of us are all low vibes together. Somebody gotta raise somebody up vibrationally, you know. So transactional is very superficial, and unfortunately a conversation that we have to have.
All right. So check this out. All right. So to give everybody some context, I know we got a lot of people tuning in, you know, throughout the show. What a transactional relationship is, you know, a lot of people, you know, you hear the words transaction, you should know what a transaction is. If you're an adult, you should know what a relationship is. But just in case you don't, y'all already know Big Ken gonna give you the definition of these things, so you don't get it misconstrued, misunderstood, anything. This is what a transactional relationship is. It is a business-like arrangement based on mutual benefit and need between two people, right? So it could be a friendship, it could be an actual, you know, a relationship between man and woman, or whatever the case may be. In a transactional relationship, both partners think the relationship as an investment and have expectations that they should expect each other to fulfill, right? So that's that's part of it. So it's a weird dynamic, because some of this stuff sounds like it's a good thing, but the problem with it is it could take a turn. So they have one advantage of a transactional relationship is the fact that both partners stand to benefit from them, right? So however they tend to lack authentic love and intimacy, and that's the problem right there, right? Because everything is based on, okay, I gave you this, so now what are you going to give me?
Right.
And as we know, in a lot of situations, you might have to give before that person can give you anything back. So you might have to give 3 or 4 times before you see any return in that. And we all know from investments, when you invest in things, stocks and stuff like that into the market, and you keep investing in something and you're not seeing no returns, you kind of get disappointed and like, man, like I'm
jumping
not
off
seeing
this
no
stock.
I'm jumping off this stock.
Gotta go.
But in a relationship, sometimes that can be very bad because the person is not in a place where they can give back to you at that point. But if you really love them, you're not looking for that, right? You're pouring into them because you're pouring that love into them. And then one day they'll be able to reciprocate that, but it'll be from a love standpoint, not from quid pro quo, where you just going back and forward in expectation. So, Trish Michelle, can you talk to me a little bit about any experiences you have with a transactional relationship, even if you've ever been involved in it, friendship wise, relationship wise?
Transactional relationship.
I think she always giving stuff. I don't know.
Whoa.
That forehead definitely show up soon as she.
First of all, no. So I'm very much Roisha, right?
Yeah.
Okay. More like that. So I mean, just naturally, I do a lot of things. You know, it's just I watched my mom do it. I watched my grandma do it. So it's within me naturally. But the great thing I can say that Warren was talking about as well was the boundaries. So I think that's oftentimes what I found out a lot of people don't have, or when you establish those boundaries or you stand on those boundaries, they feel offended or they feel slighted. And that's not the case. You're just standing on your boundaries and your expectations. And that's what a lot of people lack today. So having those boundaries keep you from dealing with those type of people. So I don't have a relationship where I have ever been in where it was transactional. I'm trying to think of maybe friendship. I just don't think so because I don't have time like to deal with people. Start seeing like certain things. It's just so much that goes on in the rest of my life. I got kids. I have my family. Like my parents are older. I'm trying to be there for them and siblings and everything else. And so at the end of the day, if it comes to somebody that's just taking from me, you're taking from my kids. So we're not going to do that. But I also know what it is like to also be the person that does have to be the giver a few times before it comes in return. But if you're sitting there waiting for your return on that, that's not what a relationship is about. It's really about the quality of the person that you're with. So if you're paying attention to that and you're investing in that and growing that person, then maybe that person right now might not be able to help out. But as you're helping grow this person and you're feeding into them and watering them, and they get to a place where y'all are now, same level or he's higher, whatever the case may be. But that's where the focus should be at. And I did all this. I paid for dinner 5 times. Where you at? Like, it's so
that's kind of the jacked up part. Because honestly, as long as the person is making deposits, whether they be emotional, whether they be spiritual, whether they be, I'll put it in a great space for me, coming from where I come from, to have somebody like my wife pour into me who's, licensed family marriage counseling therapist, and works with psychology and all that type of stuff. To have somebody pour into me in an emotional standpoint, a lot of times, honestly, it's more valuable than the money. Like it doesn't, I like nice things, but I've seen people with the great amounts of money and they're a basket case. And I've always said, I don't want to be that person. I've had opportunities to reach higher and grab more money, but I honestly look at some of the people that I know that are very, very, very wealthy. And man, like, it's like, you mean I got to sell out my emotional and my this and my that to change that? It's like, I don't even want my kids to view me like that. Like, so it's not an exchange that I've never been willing to compromise with. And that's always been even from back in my Texas days, Ken. That's why I disappeared so much, because Negroes was on a little bit too much, and I was like, yeah, dog, I can't float with it. So I believe ultimately in the end, you do have to make some deposits into your woman, lady, friendship, relationship, whatever you want to call it. So
yeah,
But
and
those,
y'all
I think
stop
people,
keeping score. Stop
right?
keeping score.
That's a
Right.
big thing. And then I think people
Listen.
don't pay attention to the type of deposits. Just because your deposit might have been financially, they're looking for a financial deposit back, but that deposit in return might have been emotionally.
That's
Right.
You know, it might have shown up in a different way.
right.
So that's a major thing that can happen. And at the same time, you know, we did our love language episode. Was it last season?
Right. Yes.
And so that person may need to pour into you in a different way because that's your love language and that's what you need. So I mean, it shows up in different ways. So people can't forget that as well.
Right.
Yeah, because all too often people think of it as that's why I say stop keeping score, because people end up becoming a competition, right?
Right.
And what you don't want is a competition, and you don't want people to feel like they're losing, because when
Right.
people start feeling like they're losing, they become discouraged, they give up. So
And they go for broke sometimes too. If they feel like
yeah,
they're losing. Losing will put you in survival mode. And some people's morals ain't that solid.
Yes, you never.
And you fool around and find somebody who is willing to sell you out, grandmama, the
They do
nieces
anything to
and the
survive.
nephews out. Negroes will go pull out the whole. I'm gonna share this story, and this one is like personal, but it's always stuck with me because when my mom passed when I was 8, the first thing some of my family did at the funeral was come up and asked where that money at.
Wow.
And I found this out, of course, not when I was 8, but as I got older and was around people who actually, were old enough to translate everything, like that stuck with me because even in such a chaotic situation, you got people around you who will say, hey, you know what? Keep them boys here, like they coming into some major money. And if you got those type of people around you, like that's gonna create some problems. So be careful of the way people are in survival mode around you, because they can turn into savages for sure.
Yeah.
Man.
Sorry you experienced that.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say, I think we're just not honest. Like a lot of these problems that we have with each other can really just be solved by being honest and upfront. Like, even if we agree to go on a date, like, let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about spending an intentional time together. And for me, my mom was like, and I don't know if she was trying to just prevent me from whatever this psychoness is, but she would always be like, and I'll say this, I'm adopted. I came to my mother when she was 41 years old. So she had already parented her natural 2 children and seen the results of that parenting. And so I think she took a different direction with me.
Right.
But one of the things that she used to tell me was that don't you dare order anything off the menu that you cannot pay for yourself. Right.
That's a fact. That's smart.
Right. And I never thought about it being anything other than pay for your own meal and he pay for his meal. And from that, I use that as a dating, unless they would say like, hey, on me, all right, cool. Thank you for communicating, but unless I'm just going to, if we're going to eat, I'd rather pay my own, because I don't want to walk away feeling like I owe you something. Like I got to do something for you now. Like I got to move to the next step with you just because you spent X amount of money on me. Like I was coming from a different mindset and I didn't want to have that transactional tie. So I remember having a date one time and be like, damn, I really want this steak, but my mama said I can't order nothing. I can't pay for it. But it keeps communication has to be clear so that no assumptions can be made, and it doesn't make you feel like, oh, you're losing money, you're pouring into a colander, you're pouring into somebody who doesn't appreciate, who's ungrateful, who talks, smack in the car about me taking her to Cheesecake Factory, like communicate expectations and feelings if you are able to do so. And if you're not able to do so, then you shouldn't be dating nobody.
And yes, that was great. And I want to say, when we first met, she came to my event, and then, you know, I wanted to meet her. It's on our podcast how we met, but I was just like, she was hungry, and like, I could tell she was hangry, and I said, oh, she got an attitude. Right. And I was like, she cute though. And I was like, all right, you know, maybe I'll come back and meet you one day. I don't know. Like, we never, and then we didn't see each other again for months. Then we met again, and then we had this meeting, and then that's when I was like, wow, you're like really different. Like, I could tell, like, her energy was just so mature, so focused, so poised. And I was trying to distract her I was giving all my energy to her. And
that's what you're supposed to do, brother.
Hey, she was throwing off her game. She didn't know what it was. I said,
that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to. You know what I'm
saying? You was applying pressure.
There you go.
Non-verbal pressure.
You know
what I'm saying, girl?
She ain't never felt this. She ain't never felt this energy in the room. Okay? Let me finish my story. Okay. So the third time we meet, I said, well, let's meet again. You know, we inbox or whatever. I said, let's meet again, since we didn't like connect after that meeting, but it was like some sparks. So third time we met, we were at Starbucks, and she gave me that same energy the first time I met her months ago. And I was like, yo, are you hungry? She was like, yeah, I had a long day. And I was like, cool. All right, let's go down the street. I know a little place where you can get food. Go ahead.
For context, I was doing field work. I was a field social worker. So I probably did 12-hour day, driving around and in traffic, seeing kids. And so sometimes you forget to eat. And by the time I got to him, I was.
So Warren, did you find out, how early did you find out that she can make black eyed peas and cornbread? Because I'm just saying.
I mean, shortly after that, you know, it was probably some months after that, we got some black eyed peas. And but here's the thing. So we go to eat, and I was like, thank you for your sacrifice, you know, to meet me here after a long day. But I could tell she was just, she was so exasperated and hangry. And I'm like, let me go get her some food. We get her some food. And to her point of her mom saying, always have money, she left her wallet that day. Of all days, she left her wallet.
Yes, there was a hole in the wall, so I couldn't even do like Apple Pay or nothing. And I was like, I have to. Please let me cash out you. So
like, nah.
Yeah.
See, it happened for a reason. God knew.
So yes, you did pay for my first meal. Is that what you wanted to say?
God stole your purse.
God stole your purse.
He hid it. He hid it just for me, so you can find me. And after that transaction, look at it. Sometimes it works. But it was a transformative transaction. It was God that was making this transaction.
All right. Yeah. So I think that's a good point for me to throw this in there. And so we've had some comments come in. Mike Check's production on YouTube. He said, in his opinion, all relationships are transactional. A transactional relationship that involves love is forgiving and patient. And he said, like we said, sometimes a person may give more than the other. So that leads to one of the questions that I have on my list is, do you all believe? And I'll say, okay, we're gonna let Warren and Roisha answer this. Do you all believe that most relationships are transactional, or all relationships are transactional at some point?
I'll start off real quick. With my former bondage, aka marriage, I was at your place, Big Ken, where I had to remove my emotions from it because I had paid all the bills for those 17, 18 years. I had not had that financial reciprocation, sexual reciprocation, spiritual. I was leading everything, emotional, mental. It was a bad investment. And I had to remove my emotions. And I knew I gave myself up for her, loved her like Christ loved the church. Like, she asked me that. I said, absolutely, I loved you. Absolutely, I tried to help you heal and help you grow. And all I'm doing is throwing money down the toilet. And then I'm taking my reserves and throwing them. So I'm like, I'm not getting a good return. And a preacher, and we just said this on our podcast, a preacher said, if there is no reciprocity, there is no relationship. So reciprocity is a mutual I think the word transaction gives it a bad connotation. Financial. Yeah.
It makes you think financial, but
But exchange. If we're talking about stocks, we're making exchanges. We're making DNA exchanges. We're making financial exchanges. We're making emotional, whatever it is, fun. We're making memory exchanges. But when the Bible, the brother who had the comment, yes, love is patient, love is kind. Also, love doesn't keep a record of wrong or just keep a record. Narcissists keep records so that they can love bomb you later and say, look,
scroll.
Remember what I did this time. Remember I paid for this. Remember I did this for you. Remember I did that.
I've been here for you.
And you know why they say that? Because they have overdraft fees. And they have tried to bankrupt you because they have nothing to lose. And so they want you not to have anything. So they will make you lose everything because they're always in survival mode. Like she said, you said, Benji. And so until a person really makes the most transactions between and exchanges between them and God, they will always be looking or falling for whoever is the highest bidder.
Right.
Nice good. Nice.
I see you snapping your fingers. I see.
Yeah, I think that's where we at in society right now. The highest bidder, with especially, sadly with a lot of our young ladies out there, that's what they're going for. When you hear, if she's 20, early 30s, she's talking about money. She's talking about, when they talk about the 50-50 conversation, I don't want no man that can't pay all my bills, that can't take care of me. Well, what are you bringing to the table? So, like you talked about earlier, what are you bringing to the table outside of a headache? You know what I'm saying? Because the simple fact of, if you want somebody to take care of you or financially, what are you taking care of for them? You know what I'm saying? And like we talked about, it doesn't have to be, tit for tat. It doesn't have to be I'm pouring money in. You got to pour money in. Sometimes if I'm the breadwinner and I'm taking care of everything, and then you're taking care of the things at home and making sure that everything operates, the way it's supposed to, that's love as well. That's a transaction as well. But like we said, the transaction doesn't always have to be about financial, right? It can be emotional. It can be of other sorts. But a lot of people, when they talk about transactions, they talking about bread. They talking about money.
Right.
How can you help me financially?
Right.
Or they're talking about sex. So
one thing
that I have seen and have noticed, in which I feel disappointment reading comments, is that everything you just said, Big Ken, and I don't have to do anything but give you my body and possibly a child. And that's good enough, and that's where the conversation really starts.
Right.
And so for example, when you were talking, Big Ken, it made me think about Drea and her recent pregnancy with this 22-year-old person, and the comments had me like, damn, man, like that's where we are. Like, it ain't my body. You can do what you want to do. And it's like, okay, so you're literally saying that to young people who are watching, who are observing, who are reading, growing, whatever, is that your lineup of your children's father is like as how you shop for your jobs and 401k. Like
retirement plan.
Your womb is your retirement plan. And that is all that really is being said, because you don't want marriage, because I've seen so many crazy comments. Well,
Nelly, our generation,
marriage.
Ashanti and
Nelly. We're wild. We was wild too, so
freaking.
And I don't, I didn't want marriage either, but I wasn't also trying to be a single mom. So that's not something that I'm going to like, and things happen with people, lives or whatever, but I feel like if you have a choice, but that's where women are coming today with like, my body is what's up for sale and my womb is my retirement plan, and I don't have to contribute anything. I'm the prize. You didn't know I was the prize? I'm the one. And that's really the attitude that I see. And I'm like, damn,
Trisha,
damn,
sad. And
I mean,
brother,
if you don't have the king and queen concept in your marriage, I mean, it's going to eventually be just that thought process. But I'm going to treat you just like I would treat a queen. especially when we're considering marriage and real relationships and stuff like that. I'm not going to let my woman go out looking crazy, and she shouldn't vice versa.
Right.
Like it's a quid pro quo. Like, you got a booger in your nose. I expect you to tell. The first person I expect to tell me is my woman.
Yeah.
Like, like we look out for each other. Like,
I think
and that concept to me, I think needs to be ingrained in, because now we have everything so individualistic. It's just give me my money and I'm out. But then again, I'm struggling trying to make this money, and I've crossed some boundaries making this money, that the reciprocation you might get is these hands. And that's what some people
Oh wow.
they don't see. They forget that part. So and so went crazy trying to get that $2 billion, and you might, you know what I'm saying, catch something, a little problem along the line. We've seen it. It's just it's terrible, but it's out there. We know.
And for somebody
we do not promote violence in any way.
No, we promote violence.
But check this out though. For somebody to see a boogie in Benji's nose, you gotta be pretty short.
Exactly. I was saying the same thing, because they down here like
that was a good one. I like that.
You're saying, yeah, I got you. All right.
Just for the record, Patricia's smaller than me, so I mean,
hey, I have nothing to do with that. I can neither confirm nor deny those allegations.
And I'm not going to confirm anything.
All right, so Mike Check Production is still. He said relationships are still transactional, which I think we've kind of established that.
I think we're saying yes.
When we're saying transactions are, are what it's about. But I think to explain it a little further and a little bit plainer for people is really what we're talking about is the foundation of your relationship. Right. What is it built on? Right? Is it built on transactions, or is it built on authentic connection? Right? Because that's what is going to involve throughout the rest of your time together. Generally, is how you start is how you finish, as they always say.
Right.
So what you build that foundation on is probably what it's going to turn into. Now, can it change? Yes. Yeah. It can. It can start out based on transactions, right? And then you develop an actual interest in each other, actual love for each other, and then it goes from this financial thing. Let's just be honest. We've had some people out there. We've had some ladies of the night that that were out there making their money, and they made a connection with a person that was a customer, and that transactional relationship turned into a real one. Right. And it happens more than people know and more than people would like to admit. But that's a great example of how that transactional relationship, financial transactional, could actually turn into something else. But the likelihood of that is very, very, very slim.
Garden tools winning out here, fam. I'm just saying.
I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the caliber of the person you're dealing with, the character of the person you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a shallow person, they're going to attract shallow people. You're going to have shallow conversations and shallow ideas of intimacy and shallow. Yeah. So that's why I was saying when two low vibrational people link up, they're going to be low vibrational and ridiculous together. Like, this is the conversation that comes about. Right, but when you have someone who, preferably the man at a higher vibration and woman, to bring it up, then you see like this, growth happening between the relationship where you're able to pour into each other's needs and allow individuality to exist in your relationship. So you have your goals, I have my goals, and we achieve goals together. But unless you're a person who is not worried about Instagram likes and what you're wearing to, whatever, Blue Martini, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter. You will not have a relationship with anybody, not even just an intimate partner relationship. All of your relationships will be a reflection of who you are. If you are shallow, it will be shallow.
That's what I was gonna say. And like for us, we didn't even have to have that conversation. Right. Did we? Yeah. But it was the character. It was her spirit. It was the pattern of behavior that I saw. It was her greatness hours. It was her investing in herself, loving herself, self-care. I'm like,
the topics of conversation we have, we're not talking about dumb stuff on Instagram. We're talking about, hey, did you hear about XYZ? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Politics.
Show me how intelligent you are.
Civil rights.
How you let me give scenarios so I can see how you critically think and what your critical responses are. How do you problem solve? If you are shallow, your conversations.
I like that point.
Yes.
You should put that on a t-shirt.
And if you even are concerned with a transactional relationship, you're with the wrong person.
Right.
So, or you're in the wrong pool. Like this is what we need to know. Marriage relationships, or relationships that should lead to engagement and relationships, you should know the person that you want to be with is who you can build with. Because there will be days when you may not feel lovey-dovey, and feelings can run out, money can run out, but does the dream run out? Do we say, regardless of how we feel and what it looks like, will we build together? Because the Bible says a foolish woman tears her own house down with her own hands, but a wise woman builds hers up. So there are foolish men and women that I experienced it. My ex-dragon just tore everything down. She's a fire-breathing dragon. So tore everything down. You got to see it on the podcast. You got to see it.
The fire is good.
The fire podcast. So I need to throw some flames on the
Throw
fire.
some fire in there.
But I know what it's like to make a bad transaction and just try to do it because you have a baby and you disobey God and your life is off track because you're making exchanges with people you do not know who. And first of all, they don't know who they are. You have to know who you are so you can discern. And if we're going to keep using this word, let's talk about the transactions of marriage licenses. Let's talk about the transactions of marriage rings, engagement rings. Let's talk about the transactions of buying a wedding dress. Like, we just need more examples and having this conversation. We don't need any more Instagram dudes who are doing the hot booty hustle, talking about relationships and have never been married, never been single, never been in a healthy relationship. Like, this dude calls himself Malcolm Sex. Like, the audacity that you would even say that, you know? And so I'm like, there is such a disrespect for the framework of God and how, and that's another reason we have drifted away from God and think that we can create some kind of fast, quick, relevant relationship trend that is outside of the framework of God. And what we are seeing now is the trends of marriage are getting greater. Divorce is increasing because people are tired of this exchange. You don't want to have to keep losing money dating women or dating men. It's not a good investment of your time. Let's just talk about that.
Your body, like subjecting your body and mind before, and we talked about this on our podcast too, like my experiences with dating. I knew I was a catch, all right? I was not a question. I could run down my whole situation.
Right.
But I was like, yo, but why do this? I'm not having the same situation. Like, I'm almost like they say, like 3 months, how that guy was like, here's how to wear a woman down. Like, here's what you need to do in 90 days.
Yep.
And I'm not joking, but it the same, like, good morning, the same, all of
good
that,
morning,
right?
Beautiful. How
good
you doing,
morning,
Queen?
Blah, blah, blah.
Grand Rising.
No,
Grand Rising.
Shallow, Grand Rising, Queen.
Grand Rising Queen.
All of that.
It's great rising now.
So
gotta take it up a notch.
Before I met him, I was already experiencing that culture, and I had to take a step back, like, something. It's either me or it's them, and I have come to the conclusion that it is them, because there are men, black men specifically, who are not dealing with the things that they need to deal with before.
Make a therapy transaction.
It was
how about that?
Honestly, the lying and the manipulation. You could be dating. You could literally think you're in a one monogamous relationship, and you are the only person. You two are the only people we are talking to. We agreed upon it, and then like 3-4 months later, I never said that we were exclusive. Like, and then you're like, you did it?
I'm like, hold on.
Like,
Right.
the gaslighting is
The gaslighting is
the
insane.
gaslighting is insane.
Talk about it.
So there are so many things that
Sad. I'm sorry.
men, yeah, I can only speak because I'm a woman.
Not for me. I got out.
I experienced from men who need to do the work. And so the other thing too is like everything is not always as it seems. So like one person specifically who I had in my international wellness retreat, thought that this Black man was a person of caliber. Since we're talking about mental health and all the things, you are a doctor, so to speak, and
Internet famous,
a high caliber man. And I have my best friend's little sister telling me exactly what you're saying to her on this island. And it does not line up with who you claim to be. And then I also had another sister tell me on the same island in the same weekend what was also being said to her. So it's like, oh, you not only played me, but you play your audience. You play into this narrative of you are a mental health expert, you're this, and Black men and healing and all of this. So it's attractive. And it's all like, oh yeah, it is such a game for people at this point to know all of the buzzwords, to know exactly how and what to say to women, to get their guard down, to play with their emotions, to play with their bodies, put their bodies at risk. Like there are more things I feel
to not be honest about their sexuality and their preferences, and
which is a huge problem because
that too.
We got a whole bunch of stuff floating around out here, and folks won't even tell you they in that boat and will sleep with you knowing that they got a problem. And won't even say nothing to you. So you got to be careful out here. And I'm just going to be, I'm going to be transparent and I'm just going to be honest. Like God told me what was coming into a space. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, Lord, if you got one of them wives, it's time for me to get out of this thing. And I listened and I got out because it's like people are so disingenuous nowadays. If you are a genuine type person, you are setting yourself up to be manipulated and used on a constant basis. And people will not care or give two F's about your feelings or what you got going on. So you got to
do not care how they leave you.
Right.
Patricia, I know what Benji saw coming. You know, we want to know what he saw coming?
I do too.
That's stud.
Yeah, man, I got hit on by a stud, man. It changed my whole life.
Hold on. It was not only a stud, it was a rather large stud. She was bigger than him. She was bigger than him.
Lifted him up into the heavens.
Come on.
Yeah. Hey, she rolled up on him like, yeah, you gonna give me them number? You gonna give me that number though?
Okay, so listen. See, Roisha and Warren don't know this story. Okay, so all right, Pete, I'm just gonna give y'all a quick little breakdown. All right, see, my ego was bruised because I felt like, why is this stud like pulling up on me? Because you know what I'm saying? Do I give off? I float with studs, but you know what I'm saying? I'm a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? I dress fly, I look nice. You know what I'm saying? I keep myself together, whatever. I'm just coming from, you know what I'm saying, Mission Inn, you know what I'm saying, you know, nice little spot, trying to check it out. Was actually trying to get into their restaurant, which is like a 4-diamond style restaurant. So I'm trying to get in that joint, right? And I got my little thing. I got everything I needed, had my reservations, everything squared away. And I'm leaving out the joint. And man, I promise you, something pulled up on me, and I was shocked. I was like, hold on. And she was big too. She had to be like 6'1". And I'm like, why is this big old girl pulling up on me, man? Like, and I'm only 5'9". And it's like, yo, like, hold on, man. Like, what is going on here? Like, and she was intimidating. I ain't never been punked by no woman because what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to swing on a woman? Man, trust me, it was tragic. And it bruised my ego. And yeah, man, I'm glad I got out of I'm glad you did too, sir.
It was about to be a transaction, all right.
It was a transaction, man. Yeah. And she isn't on our show anymore, but she used to actually, like, because I gave her our Instagram and she used to actually watch the show. So that's about the best I could do. She wanted my number and all of that.
Have you ever been swallowed?
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Man, listen, that
I'm
one
just
was
playing, man. I'm just messing with you, dog.
that one scared me, man. So
I wouldn't know.
yeah.
I just couldn't rub it in, bro. I'm sorry.
That
I'm sorry.
was an epic day. Epic.
It
epic.
was. It was.
Whew,
And
man.
I remember that to this day.
Then you didn't know what to do when
I
we
did.
got on the podcast.
When you said, do I swing? I was like, yeah, that is a good question. I was stuck on that part of the story.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, do you get to? I don't know.
I can't swing on the ladies
because
Thank
I
God.
but I don't know. Trust
Nope,
me.
you don't swing. Thank God you used to run track. You used to run track. You're pretty fast, so you better use your fast foot.
I had on my.
Well, no.
Use your fast football feet. Use your fast football feet to get away.
Yeah, I had on the loafers that day, man. I couldn't run. I had on the velvet loafers, bro.
Take them off.
He's gonna fall.
You gotta move. You gotta moonwalk in them. You gotta just moonwalk away from them.
Flee the scene.
Definitely don't swing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but that's one of those situations where that transaction wasn't going to go the way you thought it was going to go. So we're glad that God steered you away from that situation. And
I got some views out of it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But you know what? As I said earlier, some of this transactional relationship is not all bad. And again, when we say the transactional piece, it's not all bad, right?
Yeah.
There's things that can come, good from the transactions that occur, but you have to make sure that the transactions aren't just financial.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
just financial.
There's drug dealers, and then there's people that do hair and stuff. There's all transactions, but there's good and bad. So I mean,
right.
If
I go to Patricia, if a woman goes to Patricia, get their hair done, you know what I'm saying? You got to pay your
I'm
money.
gonna fix your bald spots.
Yeah.
Fix your bald spots. You know what I'm saying? Ken, she go fix your bald spots.
You said you go to Patricia. You said if I go
deep steam therapy,
I don't need
nice
it.
Little,
I'm okay being bald and with my beard. You said if I go to Patricia, so you're gonna get a man. You're gonna get a man unit. So
you know what?
I don't need no man unit.
We're gonna put that. We're gonna make that a whole.
I still got my hair. I still got my hair. You know what I'm saying? We straight.
I know we got a little patchwork. See right there.
Yeah. So your forehead is growing at a rate that you can't control. So eventually, you're gonna need to add a little bit more hair to the front.
I got you, because you're not gonna be ready to accept it, and I'm gonna hold you down.
You gonna hold me down? I appreciate it. I appreciate both of y'all, because whenever I'm hurting, y'all make the transaction to get me back. You get what I'm saying? See, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have always been like this. I appreciate y'all.
So let's just say at the end of the day, I think the conversation has pointed out to most people that there are going to be transactions in all relationships, right? But we want to make sure that people understand and pay attention to the type of transactions that are going on. And also it aligns with the expectations, right? What are you expecting from these transactions?
Right.
Because I think a lot of people, when they have the transactions, that's what gets them in trouble. The transaction occurs and you're expecting something immediately from that, or you're expecting something in return. And sometimes that's not always going to happen. Sometimes you won't get any return for a certain transaction. Right. You just have to be willing to, be okay with that, especially if you have a great relationship with this person. If you love this person, whether they're a friend or whether it's, a male female relationship or whatever the case may be, you got to be understanding of that. Right. So before we wrap up, we want to make sure that we give Warren and Roisha the opportunity to
the Moesha.
So we want to make sure that we give them the opportunity to explain to us, what do you see that you can point out to people where they can maybe help them focus on something outside of just the financial piece. Like if you could give a younger couple or a younger person advice, like what type of things would you pour into them?
I would assuming that I know them and I know their past and their, their upbringing, I think that a lot of us discount our childhood and adolescent years for how we show up in adult years. And if we struggle to deal with those things, my suggestion to strengthen any relationship is to deal with those issues, because once you do deal with them, your life and your relationships and your boundaries and just things start to appear differently for you. And I was lucky to experience that when I was 21, because of my master's social work program. I was able to open books that I had to on assignment to discover, wow, this is what happened to me when I was younger. This makes so much sense as to how I react as an adult, how my behaviors are, or the behaviors I've seen my family in, and those are not healthy. Those are toxic, and I want to learn different. I want to be different. I want to be healthy. I want to break cycles and generational curses. And so for me, I would speak that to any person individually or in a relationship, because it shows up in your job, it shows up in insecurities and all types of relationships. And so heal what you have not dealt with so that you can flourish in all areas of your life and you can achieve the goals and the dreams that you have set before you. But can't do that if you are triggered by anyone and anything and everybody. So that would be my advice.
That's good.
Thank you.
For me, I had a conversation with one of the guys that I was on the Love Experiment with, the dating show on MTV, and he was just like, I'm kind of tired of my whole phase, and it's just starting to feel empty. And I said, well, booty is gonna be, excuse me if I don't know your audience, but it's gonna be everywhere.
No, you good.
No, you're good. You're straight.
Okay. I'm like, it's gonna be everywhere, brother. I said, but what's not gonna be is a woman who will take care of you when you're sick, and a woman who will take care of you when you don't have money, who's not impressed with your sports car. And I said, the reason why you are feeling that emptiness is because God is now helping you realize. It's self-realization, it's self-knowledge, it's self-awareness. You're starting to realize, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child, and I played with women like a child. And I want to put away those childish things and become a man. And, scientifically, they say men don't mature until they are around mid-40s. But I believe you can mature faster than that if you really understand how God laid out the framework for a man to be. And a man of God will not just be looking for a transactional relationship. They will be looking for a transformative relationship, a woman who will hold them accountable, a woman who will call them to be confident and humble at the same time, a woman who they can be proud of and they can want to be healthy because of the caliber of the woman that is next to them. She is literally my queen. There is no one, from mindset to finances to emotional intelligence to maturity to accountability to the non-emasculation, covers my vulnerabilities. These are the conversations that we really need to be having. Because if all you're worried about is money and losing that is who you truly love. You don't love God. You don't love yourself, and you probably don't love women. And so for men, we need to heal our mother wounds, our father wounds, and we really need to love ourselves so that we can receive, because loving ourselves is loving God. And loving God and loving ourselves helps us love others properly. If we have not made the proper transactions for ourselves that cause transformation, and I know it, I was going to therapy in a time where the only money I was making was the therapy money I could afford. That, and I'm talking about that's been in the last 2 years, because I lost everything, because I had to let go of an old life. So So we have a conversation about cognitive dissonance and faith and doubt. Your fear and love, those cannot exist in the same space. So you're going to have to make a choice to say, this is what I want. And a good leader starts with the end goal in mind. I knew I wanted a beautiful wife that I could be proud of and that would love me properly. And so I wouldn't settle until God blessed me with all the unanswered prayers and wishes. And it didn't come with her saying, I need this type of ring. She told me what type of ring she liked, but she didn't know when I was getting it, how much it cost. And hey, I guess it impressed all her friends. I did the best transaction on that. I was just going off a whim. Make it nice and neat. Just make it nice and neat. That's all I want.
Right.
And the rest is history. But it also is, if it's based on those material things, those are going to come and go. Yeah. The word says that seek first the kingdom and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto me. The biggest blessing that I do have in my life is not the zeros in my bank account. It's who I lay with at night. And her last name is Banks, and her first name is ROI. And she has had the best return on investment of love that God has ever given back to me. So that's why her name is Roisha. Hallelujah, somebody.
Now I'll be honest. At first, I was like, her last name Banks. She might be kinfolk.
Right.
Oh.
So I was like,
you were her cousin.
I promise I asked her like a couple times. I was like, yo, like, where your folks from?
Well, interesting enough, I have my maternal last name as my last name, and my father's last name, who was Black, is Thomas. But my maternal, she's Native and French descent. So Banks family, unless you got, white folk and you somewhere Native in there.
He light skin. Look at him.
Trust me, there's some,
from like
my
Kansas,
folks is from
Nebraska.
We all do on this call. We all light skin.
Trust me, some of my folks is from Ireland.
I'm doing genetic genealogy, so I'll follow up with you.
Right. And I did my little DNA thing, so you might be under there. I might find
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We might find one.
Good right.
All right, so Warren and Roisha, let the people know about your platform and where they can find you all.
Yes, we are on YouTube and all podcast streaming platforms. Not For Real Podcast is our podcast, and also I have a Black luxury lifestyle brand called Warren Hampton. You can find it at IamWarrenHampton.com. And these are my sweatsuits that we just made. We made these just prototypes, seeing how we're gonna get into the apparel game. Right. But Social Roots, go ahead.
Social Roots LLC. So Social Roots is my social work consulting business. That's kind of where I house my mental health things for Black women and Indigenous communities. And I also have a foundation, the Social Roots Foundation, which right now we have 4 scholarships open for 2 Indigenous women who are pursuing careers in mental health or behavioral health. And then that's $1,500 scholarships for each. We have 4 total, so 2 Indigenous women and 2 Black women who are going to be pursuing careers in the mental and behavioral health fields. Right. So I do a lot of different things, but right now that's
your personal focus. Roisha at your personal.
Yeah, me, Roisha, ROICIA on all the handle things.
And my personal Instagram is Warren Stewart Jr.
Yeah. Now that handbag, is it a handbag or what is that?
The crossbody, crossbody. I don't know where it is, but
the crossbody thing. Make sure you shoot us a picture of that when you posting it. Let us know, because we will share it. We will put it out there for you guys. And definitely got to connect with you guys again, because you guys are actually in the same space me and my wife are in. So definitely will be connecting with you.
Definitely, it's good to finally connect.
Yeah.
Facts, thank you guys so much for this.
No problem. Thank you. Trisha Michelle, y'all know what time it is. Talk to the people before we get up out of here and let them know your final thoughts and how to get in touch with you.
Oh man, today was, it was a great, I'm not going to act like every week we don't do something great, but this is amazing. And they really brought forth a lot of conversation that needs to be had. And bringing God into that conversation as well. And I think that's one thing, like they said, we're getting far away from it. And I mean, we were never, Jesus did everything without return. We're not, we have no debt to pay in reference to that. And I mean, to expect return out of everything, we're not supposed to do anything transactionally to where we're expecting people to do for us in return. We weren't brought here in that sense. So we're not supposed to be doing that as well. So I think that's another thing to, take back and think about. Don't do anything expecting for something to be done. And that's in your friendships, that's in your family, that's in your relationships. Yes. So transactional, when that, I forgot who it is. You said that was on YouTube, whoever the guy was.
Mike Checks Production.
Mike Check, yeah. He's really caught up on the transactional piece there, but I mean, it is more of an exchange. Transactional does sound like money. And I think we just need to change the word because it brings apart that connotation that it's money to be spent, and the belief that people need to do a certain caliber of spending to achieve this type of caliber of person or have this type of thing. I mean, just invest in yourselves, like Warren and Raisha said, get some mental health up underneath you, heal those wounds, and stop, because money ain't gonna heal it. It doesn't matter how much you make, how successful you are, no matter the type of woman you get underneath you. If you are not healed, or man and female, for both sides, do the work to get the proper individual underneath you too, because you ain't gonna do them but bring them down anyway.
Right.
So yeah, that's all I have to say with that. And I am on Instagram, Trisha_Michelle_YT, YouTube, also TikTok, same thing. Yeah, that's it. That's where. Wait, am I new with Twitter? Yeah, that's where y'all can find me. And of course, the Fiyah Session.
You mean X?
I'm not gonna call it that because then I feel like it's missing two X's.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true. We're not gonna discuss it, but that's true. That's pretty true. It's pretty accurate. All right, Benji Banks, the man, the brand, talk to the people.
Man, listen, this was exceptional. I love the conversation, and I think the thing we can't be afraid of any longer, I think it's been past time, is for us actually bringing the concept, the idea, the thought of God back into our spaces. And I think that's something that's been really pressing heavy. And I've been kind of in that space for a while. Those of you who know my professional bachelor life, you know about what that was years ago. So to be in a new space, I would say for anybody out there, man, and I said this actually at my wedding, don't be afraid to step into the new spaces. Yes, there's some new things to learn. Yes, there's some new concepts. Yes, there's some new ideas that you don't know about that you got to figure out. But in the end, if you're going somewhere and you have a goal and you are attached to the purpose for your life, you can't do nothing but come out good on the end. You're gonna have some bumps, the boat gonna, rock a little bit, but stay in that thing. And so that's what I'm kind of encouraging people now. And I'm back in that space. And it's funny because a lot of the people who used to know me, the 19-year-old, 20-year-old me who used to do this full time in ministry and stuff like that, they're like, welcome back, Yeah,
man.
They've been following me for a long time. So it's interesting. It's amazing. But again, man, like, don't be afraid to step into those new spaces, man. We got a lot of work to do just overall as individuals. So don't be afraid to put in the work. And y'all know where you can find me. We BRB4701 on Instagram. You can't miss me. I mean, ain't too many people got my name, Benji Banks, my logo. So you can't miss me. So follow your boy on there. Go through all the links. We got a lot of great stuff for you. Clothing lines, wine, this, that. We got it all. So, oh, by the way, Patricia.
Yeah.
The Sip Pain is coming up, so I got to holler at you. So you know I got.
Okay, yeah. There you do. You got it. You got to come and direct my mind everywhere now. So yeah.
I know. I got you.
Be direct.
I got you.
All right. So, appreciate that, y'all. I'm just gonna leave y'all with this. Learn to see your partner as your ally, not your competitor. Right. Whether that's your friend or whether that's, somebody that you're involved with romantically, that you're dating, you married, they are not your competitor. Get out of that. And as I said, stop keeping score, right? Just love people for who they are and be authentic in your actions and in your intents. And you'll see things work out a whole lot better in those transactions that occur because they will be, from a good space.
Yes.
All right. So y'all can catch me at all social media platforms. Just type in, just look up Big Ken's Comedy on IG, Big Ken's Comedy on Twitter, Big Ken's Comedy on Facebook. Y'all can catch the Fiyah Session on all social media platforms. Just type in FIYAH Session and we'll pop right up. Make sure you, most importantly, go to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button so you won't miss an episode when we go live. And we have people live in the comments every episode. And that's why we like to do it this way, live, so we can get these comments, because we love y'all's comments. Some of your comments we can't put up. We can't put on the screen. We try to grab them. But we do see them. So we respect it. We respect the freedom of speech. So y'all continue to support us, continue to show love, and continue to put your ideas out there, because it's somebody looking and somebody reading and somebody watching, and they might be affected by that in a positive manner. So again, we want to show love and respect to our special guests, Warren and Roisha today. Nah, For Real podcast. Y'all go follow them. Dope information. Dope example of what God can do for you in your relationship. So some of y'all need some guidance. So there are a couple who can give you that guidance. You know what I'm saying? Who can give you that information. So, and they drop jewels on every episode. So make sure you go follow them. And y'all know y'all can tune in next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. We're gonna have another dope episode for y'all that's coming through live. If you miss anything, go to our YouTube, go to our Facebook, go to our IG, catch up. You know what I'm saying? Because we're on 153, so you got a lot of work to do. But we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Y'all already know how we do it.
We right behind y'all. Thank y'all so much. God, love and blessings to y'all. God bless y'all.
Facts. Y'all already know how we do it. It's Fiyah Session. Peace. Thank you for joining us today. Please follow us on all social media platforms. Just search Fiyah Session.